Hello, and welcome to the 29th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined for the first time ever is Gunnar Gualco and Ted Libby. Gunnar?
Yeah, hi.
Gunnar, I want you to start. Introduce yourself. Tell me about your gaming history a little bit. Just give me some bullet points on who you are.
Okay. Hi, I'm Gunnar. I'm new around here. I've been playing games since I was a kid. I actually, contrary to Jake and Ted and James, I don't own a current gen console. I only have a PC.
Which is perfect because we're talking about a PC game today. That's why you're on the show.
Which is perfect. I'm also a big car guy, as my shirt said. Well, it's backwards, but you just take my word for it. It's a car shirt. And yeah,
Perfect.
That's all you really need to know about me.
And Theodore, who the hell are you?
Hi, I'm Ted. I'm actually a competitive esports player.
Yep.
No, I'm not.
Teddy
I've just been playing games for way too long. I've spent too many hours on parents' computers, and now I'm here to talk about video games.
Boom. That's what I like to hear. So today we are talking about Valorant. But before that, this is the 29th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on YouTube.com, SoundCloud, and Spotify, where once a week we sit down and Skype across 500 miles, which still applies because you two are both in Sacramento and I'm in San Diego.
That's true.
To talk about a gaming-related topic and what games we are playing. This week our topic is Valorant, review impressions kind of this first season of Valorant. And then I'm going to share with you my thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima, which I've played roughly about 6-7 hours of. And if you like the show, remember to subscribe, like, and all of that jazz. And if you want gaming news, James St. Charles and I, who is absent from the show tonight, will do the Sidescape Game Report, usually every Friday, unless we forgot like the last few Fridays. Now, I want to know first and foremost, Gunnar, what are your overall thoughts on Valorant Season 1 is what we're going to call it?
As far as PC games go, it's very much like a CS:GO style game, but I think the entry point is a lot lower. Like it's really easy to pick up. I'd never really played CS:GO. The only game I really played that had to do with CounterStrike was, I think, Source. I used to play gun game, and I was terrible at it. But it was really easy for me to pick up Valorant, and I don't think I'm very good.
Yeah. I wasn't saying that in agreement.
Yes, that's
None
true.
of us
You're
are
not
very
very
good.
good.
None of us are
very good. I
Speak
also
for yourself.
think, for what's worth, I think Riot did a decently good job on their first foray into it.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah.
Janan.
Hi, Janan.
That's Janan, by the way. That's the girlfriend.
Yeah, so I guess before we start diving into like everything Valorant-wise, Valorant is a 5v5 shooter that is very in the vein of Counter-Strike of like taking
What is it?
But yeah, because I guess it's a hard game to explain if you don't know any of these types of games.
Whew.
Valorant is one team's on offense, one team's on defense, and it's based in rounds. And there's, first to 13 rounds of victory. Yep. And you're taking a bomb to one of 2 to 3 points, trying to plant it or kill everybody in the match. And unlike Counter-Strike, there are heroes much like Overwatch. So it's like a fusion of Overwatch and Counter-Strike. And we're going to dive into all this because I think everything you have to talk about if it works or if it doesn't work. But I want to know your kind of history with, I guess, Counter-Strike and Valorant before we talk about everything specific. So Gunnar's never really played a lot of Counter-Strike, but Valorant was a little more easy to pick up. Ted.
I think I would say the only game I played that was like related in terms of the reflexes that you might need is Siege. Jake and I both played a lot of Siege,
played a ton of it.
which is like very similar, like as in holding angles, holding sights, stuff like that. So I think that's the only game I've really played that's similar. But
yeah, and I think that's a really good comparison. I think that's actually a better comparison, and honestly, than Overwatch at all. Like it's each hero and they have their own abilities. Ted, what about you? What's your entry point with Valorant?
I hate this game. I love it so much and I hate it so much. I've gotten so deep in.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna get into it. Don't you worry. But I think it really helps that it is brand new. Everyone that has been showing up these past couple weeks has been brand new. A lot of them to Counter-Strike style games or this round-based economy shooter, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been a lot of fun. And the deeper you want to dive into it, the more space opens up for you to dig. Because, boy, there are a lot of mechanics into this game that just can blow your mind.
And did you play Counter-Strike or any of that?
Not really. I mean, Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out almost 10 years ago.
Is that what GO stands for?
Yeah, CSGO. Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
I'm running the gaming podcast, guys.
Wow. Wait, you didn't know that?
No, I thought it was like Go, like Like the word go. Like
Pokemon Go.
Because the game was the games were quick.
Pokemon Global Offensive. I hope. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I bought it because it was a Steam game at the time.
Okay.
And I played it for 15 minutes and went, this kind of sucks.
Hmm.
And ever since then, it's been, CounterStrike. If you want to know how to play, if you want to get into a game, you're going to have to learn recoil movements and map positioning and crosshair placement, crazy things. So when a new one came along, quoted as a Counter-Strike killer, you figure, why not? You can give it a shot. And it is very user-friendly.
Yeah, so, I want to kind of jump on what you said, because like we've talked about, I'd never played Counter-Strike. I didn't even know it was called Global Offensive. So that's how much I played Counter-Strike, right? But I played a lot of
real players, they play Counter-Strike 1.6. That's important.
That's good. What about 1.7? Do we like 1.7?
No, we hate 1.7.
Okay, gotcha.
All the other 1 points, don't like them.
That's when they added the laser gun, huh?
Yeah. Yep, that's the one.
So I played a ton of Siege, though, about like 2-3 years ago on season 1 and season 2. Was when
was it that long ago?
Gunnar and I were really, it was like 2 years ago.
It's been a while.
long time ago.
And that's when we were really into it. And like, I really liked Siege because it had that like strategic kind of shooter where it wasn't Call of Duty of like, I respawn, I run and die, respawn and get 6 kills, die, respawn. I liked that there was like weight to every game of like, if I die here, I'm screwed for the rest of the round. And I like that about Valorant. But what I started to not like about Siege, and why I think we dropped off of it, they added new ops, they added new operators, and they added new maps. And it's like, well, shit, I don't know High Rise. I don't know this map anymore. So like, we're just going to lose because none of us know how to play this map. And what I think is really cool about early Valorant, and what I'm really kind of nervous about later on, is I love that it's 4 maps. I really like 3 of them. And I know kind of how to play them. And which 3 I like change a lot, right?
The 3 that you're not currently playing are the 3 best maps.
Yeah. But like, I think that Siege got so complicated of like, there's 17 maps and, I don't know which one is which. And they all look the same.
50 operators at this point.
Yeah. And it's like, that's too much. And that's how you have to do a live game, right? But what I like about Valorant right now is it's a lot simpler and I know everything right now.
Yeah.
That being said, it's in 3 months when they do season 2. I'm not going to know anything anymore.
I was going to say, if that's how you feel about Valorant, take a look at League of Legends in its first iteration and its current iteration. Riot, I feel like Riot generally adds and they don't really taketh away. So everything, it's just compounding. So we'll see what happens in the future seasons, but they tend to add a lot of things.
Yeah, and I was very big into Overwatch, and the more heroes they added, the less I liked of Overwatch. It was like, now we're getting in a guy who does like one thing that this character does, this character, and this character. And like, they don't even have their own abilities. They just took 3 abilities from other people and they do it all. Yeah. And it's like, so that just changes the meta, but it's not fun.
Yeah. Well, and you worry in a game like this, will the heroes that you and I are playing right now soon be outdated by simply better heroes?
Totally.
Later down the line. And am I going to have to pay for them because this is Riot and it's a free-to-play game?
So, okay, question about that with League of Legends. Do you have to buy heroes?
Yes.
Can you earn them?
But not with money.
Okay.
You get in-game currency to buy heroes. And I think the most expensive hero in League of Legends, you can back me up, is like, what, 5,600? But when they come out, aren't they 7,200? Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe they changed it. 7,800.
It's a hefty time commitment.
Okay, and what is that? What is that in dollars?
Well, they have a different currency that converts into dollars.
Right,
so like, they have IP and RP. The last I played, IP is what you earn in game, and RP is is like dollars to RP.
And that's just like Valorant. Valorant has currencies up the wazoo, and I don't even know what one of them does. I keep earning Radiant, and I have no idea what it does.
Radiant is a gun currency. It's a weapon skin add-on currency.
Okay, so I want to start here. Let's start very simple with Valorant. We've talked about our history. First season, what is your thought of it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you want to keep playing it? Like, and I know our answers are gonna be very similar, but I want to know kind of. I mean, let's start with you, Ted. What are your like branching thoughts of it?
I think I'm just falling in love with these Counter-Strike style shooters. Since playing this, my roommates and I have all gotten into it, and we've started swapping videos back and forth of like how to aim better, how to walk better, where to put your crosshair, how do CSGOs do it, how do CSGO players do it, and I'm really loving just learning how to play that game. I don't know how I feel about everything that's Riot. I don't know how I feel about operators or agents, I think they're called. I don't know how I feel about these seasonal setup where the maps might be changing in a couple of weeks here. I just learned the basics, and it might all change in a second. So I'm not sure how this will convert into a live game, but the basic mechanics, the overall style, I'm just falling in love with.
And that's something I've talked with Maddie about, like my girlfriend, and which you guys know as well. But this is a great game that I love playing with my friends. That I would never play this on my own. Like if I'm sitting and like, what am I going to do right now, and nobody can play Valorant? I'm not going to play Valorant. Like that's not. I've tried it before. It's not a fun game by myself.
Yeah, the solo queue.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like so, it's such a weird concept of like I only like to play this when 3 or 4 other people are playing it.
Yeah.
Like that's really a weird game for me because I'm such a single player game, like gamer. And it's so weird. Like this is the only game I like to play. And Siege would be the same way. Overwatch would be the same way. It's just these games like I only like playing them because it's fun to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
In this style of game.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah.
I think the team aspect of it is the biggest part. I mean, I've played a couple solo games now, a couple duos, and the more people you have, just the better it is. Because the more natural communication you're going to have, it's a lot easier just to be chatting off positions, points, you know, where I died, that kind of thing, than having to press V and say this concise, quick little button.
Yeah.
You know?
And Gunnar, what about you? What are your like first initial impressions of it? And you kind of nodded along with my only with your friends.
I was gonna say you took the words right out of my mouth. It's not a game that I will generally play by myself. I'm only really gonna play it with anybody else. That said, I think that's what Riot did perfectly. Similarly with League of Legends, Valorant will run on a potato, meaning that meaning that all of your friends can really get into it, and there's like a low cost of entry. You can even have like crap stuff from like 2012, and it'll still play it. I think that was really important into like the success of Valorant now because CS:GO, Ted might know a little bit more, but it's gotten like really, really heavy. So you're not able to like play it. You have to have at least something better to play it on.
Do you mean heavy in the terms of like how your computer runs it?
Yeah, like you have to have something a little bit nicer.
Okay.
I also think that I don't know. It's like easy to pick up. Like you don't really have to be good. You just have to have a fun time. Like right when Jake and I started playing, we're like, you know, let's just play this.
Yeah.
And like have no commitment. We don't want to like get into this at all.
Well, and we made the joke too of like we will not learn the people's names. Like we are not going to learn what these agents are called. Like it is Ghost Man and Rocket Girl. Like
exactly.
Now we're like into it. We're like, well, that's Omen and Raze, and we know all these people's names.
You're deep in now.
You know, I still like to call Sova Legolas, but like that was such our thing. Was like we're not going to get deep in this. And then like Ted and his roommates started playing, and like now we're like pretty into it more than I think a lot of people are. We're playing it like almost every night.
I mean, you know, everyone has their own Discord server nowadays, but mine has exploded from 5 people into I think we're at 24, 25.
It's all Valorant, right?
All Valorant, all friends of friends, and there's constantly people just messaging each other like, "You down? You know, like we need a 5th, we need a 4th." It's kind of awesome, and that really goes to show that being able to play on a potato really helps. Well, everyone who has a computer can play this game.
I don't even think it's the potato thing. I think it's the free thing. The fact that this game is free is awesome. It's a free potato, right? And there's really no barrier to entry of like, come play this game. The one barrier to entry is that the updates take 5,000 years to download a gigabyte. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But it's really this easy game to just hop into. And then like, if you have someone that knows how to play, you're like, well, play this guy and here's what he does. And it's fine if it doesn't really matter. Like as long as you kill somebody, you're fine. I think that's kind of the nice part of Valorant is it's, and that's going to get so much more complicated. And that's why I don't think in a year I'm going to be playing Valorant.
Yeah. We'll be playing CounterStrike by then because we'll be pros.
Oh, right. I hope not.
Yeah, we'll be on Asian servers playing CounterStrike for sure.
Shit, really?
Yeah.
Is that the steroids you're taking?
Yep, that's it.
That's the other thing though. I think about Valorant versus CounterStrike is that CounterStrike, like every screen cap of CounterStrike, any of them that you see is just like terrorists versus counter-terrorists. Like it's the same. What do they call it? Dust or Rust? I don't even know enough about CounterStrike to know.
It's Dust because Rust is the Call of Duty map.
Just
that's right.
2.
Dust.
2.
It's always that map.
It's always that map.
Everybody does the same thing, and it's not different. And some people like that. Some people really like the consistency of CS:GO, but Valorant's different, and I like that. I
would argue, as we've been playing more with Valorant, it's become a lot more of the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the last night, Ted, that we played?
Yep.
We had
we play every night.
Yeah. But last night
you into this. We are in.
We're in. But last night, like 3 nights in a row, it was like. So in Valorant, just a little brief thing, you buy a gun if you die. Like you buy like your kit every round. You earn money every round to buy your kit. Well, it's now like the meta is like, let's buy 4 to 5 Odins in unranked, and that's like what we have second round, and that's all we're gonna do. Yeah. And it's like, well, we can't run in that place because they've got 5 Odins trained on that door. And it's like, this is no longer like fun, and then they just keep earning money, and you're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's like, I fear that that's gonna start happening.
I mean, the meta since my time playing has already gone from let's get really big guns early and try and blast people down early, and now people are saving their money for 3 different rounds. They'll go pistols for the first 3 rounds and just kind of stay cheap, build up their money, and then round 4, round 5, they're consistently dropping really big guns onto the match.
It's interesting.
So it's changing, it's evolving. I think that part's really cool, and that's because we're here at the beginning.
Right.
If Valorant was a 10-year-old game, everything probably would have been done by now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like when Overwatch, when it was the meta was 6 Winstons, and that was like how you played.
Yeah, that's the only way to play.
Well, it doesn't happen anymore.
What you do, yeah.
So let's go. I want to jump to the operators, or the agents that they're called.
You want to talk about the operator?
The operator.
I thought we didn't know their names.
But we don't. We're just going to call them by the acronyms and what they do. No, so
Okay.
I want to say you start with
Copyright-free podcast.
6 to 7 agents is what you start with, and then you unlock. There's 4 to unlock. Is that correct? 5 to unlock?
5.
I believe there's 5. You start with 6
start with
and unlock 5.
Okay, so there's 11 total. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm glad
there are plans to release 6 operators per year. They're called agents. But
that just sounds horrible to me.
Yes, it does.
I don't want 6 agents here, but anyways.
Yeah.
So they all do different abilities. There is only one healer that can heal people, which I think is an issue in this game.
Oh, yeah.
But then everyone else has either like stuff to block entry points or attack people with their different abilities. I wouldn't necessarily think that anyone's abilities are so overpowered. Maybe Ray's is the only one that's a little annoying and that she's getting a debuff. But what are your thoughts on the agents? Do you like the variety? Do you want to see more? Do you want to see, like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on agents, Gunnar?
For what it's worth, I think they're actually pretty balanced. Like, there's no one that is like super over the top, like broken. I think that really comes when you see one person who's really good with a particular person.
I would agree.
So, like, if you see an expert like pro Reyna, she'll wipe the floor with the whole team. But if that Reyna is not very good, then it's not really a problem. So I think I think like they're all relatively balanced.
Reyna is the overpowered bad person character. Like, if you're not good at the game and you get killed by a Reyna, it's like because she's better. But like once you get better at the game, she's not like anything.
Oh yeah, it's predictable. It's easy to fight against. Like, it's once you learn at least a little bit about the game. Like, oh, I can shoot this orb that they shoot through that makes this shrieking noise. Like, the game starts to get easier as you play it.
Yeah.
But if you just go in and Reyna just kills you, and there's this eye orb in the sky, and you're just dead. So
I think there's definitely a hump of learning what everybody does, which gets very annoying very quickly. But after a couple YouTube videos and just a lot of games played, you kind of figure out what every character does very nicely. Yeah. And because there's only 11 of them right now, and you're not going to see all of them. And that really helps.
I think that's the issue with adding more people. But I think the issue right now with me and the agents is like, there is one healer, Sage, right? Yep. And every round your team needs a Sage. And no one really wants to play Sage. So it's like, it always comes down to that last person of like, do I want to fuck over my team because everybody else locked in their person? And like, thank God we play with your cousin Jefferson, who's like, I'm not great at shooting, so I'll just be Sage because at least I can provide some value. And it's like, that like, and not in a mean way. I love that because it's like, at least someone's going to be healing. We're like, and he's great at it. He's a great Sage, and he heals, he revives, and he does really well.
He's a very good team player.
But other people are like, fuck that. I don't want to help out the team. Like, let's just, and it's like, that sucks. And it sucks that there's only one person that does that. And it's not fun to be that character, really. Yeah.
I mean, maybe the extra agents in the future, it could be a great sign.
I hope so.
We could do different kinds of healers that do different things. You could bet money that there's going to be a character that needs to shoot you to give you health. The Anna or Anna from Overwatch. Yeah. So that could add some fun interplay.
Yeah, like I love that about Overwatch with the healers of like Mercy, like she heals you directly, and then you have Lucio's like area of effect healing.
Yeah.
And it's not as good as Mercy's healing, but it like constantly does it. And it's like, I like that balance. And I don't think you could do that in Valorant of like area of effect because it is such a like positioning game rather than a push game. but I think they need to work on variety of like healers and like support characters because I don't think there's a lot of like support.
Yeah, and I think we'll see that down the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
I think the agents that we saw here in the beginning are just kind of a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And we'll start seeing more diversity with what each hero can do later on down the line.
I hope so.
But the cool thing about heroes is they're not that important. Their abilities make or break the game for sure. But at the end of the day, if you can if you can click heads,
you can click some heads.
Calling it nowadays. If you can click heads, if you can hit headshots, if you can get your game mechanics down right, you could 1v5 or beat other heroes. It's not a lot like a MOBA where I'm a support character, so I'm useless in a team fight, or like I can't do damage.
And I like that about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that everyone's got a shot at doing something good.
Yeah.
I've never seen every top person of a team, like I've always seen a different hero. Like I've never just seen like it's always the fire dude, John Boyega.
Yeah, it's very much player ability, not hero composition or ability lineup, stuff like that.
Right.
It's very much like how good are you with a mouse, a keyboard, and your reflexes, And that part is really cool. And there are a lot of videos on how to get better. Trust me, I've watched most of them.
Ted in his videos is gross. So what do you feel about the maps wise? Because there are 4 maps, and I actually think there's an interesting thing to talk about in the maps. There are 3 maps that are 2 positions, A and B. And then there is 1 map that is an ABC map with 3 different positions where you can plant, which I think is the weirdest choice in the world. And I want to talk about that. But what do you think about...
Just wait till there are 4.
Oh, God. Bind, Ascent, Split, and Haven. Ooh, look at that.
It took me weeks to learn those names.
I know, because they're horrible.
They're horrible. Everything about... We'll talk about it.
Yeah. What do you think about the maps? What do you think of the maps? Brief description.
Yeah, they're all... I don't know. I don't have any reference to compare them to, but they all seem good, with the exception of whatever map I'm currently playing. That one's the worst.
Yeah.
The other 3 are always great. That's just how it always is.
I would agree.
I think most maps offer 2 to 3 ways to get into each point to work around. So if you're on A, there's probably going to be 3 different ways. If you're on B, there's probably going to be 3 different ways, and it makes it for a really interesting play of like where are they coming from. It's not always going to come from the hallway because they always do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variety in how each game plays out, and although you spend 45 minutes on the same map, it can feel very different over the course of the game.
And that's what I think is so weird about the choice of having 1 map that is 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this game's about 2 points trying to get the bomb there, except for the one time you play on the map that is 3 points, and it's like. Okay, I get you're trying to break it up, but like, why isn't it like 2 maps of 2, 2 maps of 3? It just feels so odd that just 1 map has 3 points and it's super random.
Yeah, from what I understand, the CounterStrike community is on fire about adding a 3rd point.
So that's not common in CounterStrike.
No, it's always 2 points. It's always been 2 points. God damn it. They're very proud about their 2 points.
See, why do they care? They're not even going to switch games.
Yeah, that's weird. But
that's a good point.
I don't know. Yeah, Gunnar, what are your thoughts on the maps before we just jump? I mean, if there's not a lot, it's fine. But
I mean, I even started to like the 3.1. I think it's a really fun way. As Ted will know, it's a really fun way to test out really random strats.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh boy, do we have a story for you?
Because we won that game.
We did.
We won that game, and that was like one of the most fun games I've ever had. I've never laughed so hard in my life. But I think the one map that really needs a huge rework is Ascent. Which is ironic.
That was the one we really liked in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I say. Jake and I were like, oh yeah, we love Ascent. We were telling my cousin over here about it, like, oh, we love Ascent. And he was like, Ascent's the worst map. And we slowly started to realize that Ascent is the worst map.
Yep.
And so it's really, I think the problem, like it's a similar thing with another game that I play all the time, which is Forza. Like it's so defense heavy, and I feel like the people on defense are just like gods, and the people on offense just get trashed. And Ted in our last game was saying, morale is a really big thing in games.
Yeah.
And if you just get trashed 7 rounds in a row, like you're just gonna keep playing worse and worse.
Well, that's why we made that rule for you, where you'd get mad for like 4 rounds of loss. And I was like, Gunnar can't get upset until we've lost 8 games. Mm-hmm. Then you can get upset, and that's totally fine. But after like 4, you gotta stay strong because we can come back. But Gunnar would be like 4 rounds. He's like, "This is the worst game I've ever played in my life," and you're like, "No, we can still come back." It's
always the worst game or the best game. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. That is Gunnar's thing. So I think that the maps, they're pretty even, and I wouldn't say that Except for Ascent, I do think there is some problems with like
Yeah.
that B
Well,
area.
the problem with Ascent is there are the two outer ways to get into the points are
really
long
open.
and narrow corridors that are very easy to get bombarded
Cool.
in.
And then,
And then your
mid's
other
open.
option is to go into an open, unprotected space, and having to pick between those two options all the time
Sucks.
It really sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like
really
that should be the
difficult.
3-point map. Like if they're gonna
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to jump to I had somewhere great to go to, but that's fine. So with the maps, with that, I want to talk about the game itself because it is the first of 13 rounds, and I think I love that and hate that about this game.
Oh, I love it.
This game is equally the longest freaking matches I've ever played in my life, and there's
Time
never
goes by like that.
and there's never enough time, right? Like it's
You
always
didn't like that when we started.
I think it's
you
too
didn't
long.
like the rounds.
Me?
You didn't like the fact
I
that
still
it's 13
think
rounds.
I still think it's too long to be honest. It should be like
I
first to
love
9,
it.
first to 10 or
love it.
something.
When you say like, oh, I need to dedicate an hour to this game, it's like, oh man, but then you're in it and all the time flies, dude. You're just like, all right, we're only on round 3. All right, we're only on round 15. We can still come back and win this.
Well, and that's the problem I think with the game, right? Is like I can be in a point where like I got something to do in an hour. So I gotta I have a 30-minute window and Ted's like, you want to play around? I'm like, I'd love to, but like if this game goes longer than 9 rounds, I'm fucked. Like I have to quit and then the game gets really mad at me if I quit.
Yeah.
And
well, supposedly.
But
None of us are quitters, so we don't know.
But like I think that's the problem for me. Like when I had to go to the airport, thank God we played a quick game that I did really well in, because if that game lasted longer, like I would have been fine because there was nobody at the airport. But like it would have taken me like too much time. Like I would have been screwed. That was another 30 minutes of my life gone, right? Like that I don't know if I like as much as like it just seems to go on and it seems very swing heavy where like the team that's winning is usually just gonna win. Like if you're up 4 or 5, like it's pretty much over, even though Gunner's not allowed to complain about it. But like it's pretty much over. That's why like at 8, you're like, okay, yeah, we are screwed in this game. But I think the momentum of like the length of the games doesn't support the momentum shift.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I've noticed it gets a lot better when the players you're playing against are competent in the maps and of how the game flows.
Mm-hmm.
When you start understanding the economy and you start as a team doing save rounds where the whole team is going to save money, that way the next round they're going to come even harder with the big guns. You start to see a lot more of like, all right, we're not in a good position, we've lost 2, let's just give up on the 3rd, and then we're going to hit the 4th round super hard. And so when you kind of get into an ebb and flow, it's much easier to turn that momentum around. A lot of times, especially in these beginning times and in lower elos,
what do you mean by elo? I'm sorry.
Ranking MMR ranking systems, lower skilled players.
Gotcha.
You'll get people who just try to buy the most expensive gun every time and then they die. Or you get 4 people who try and 1 person who doesn't. So it's basically a 4v5 because one guy's running around with a pistol.
Oh my God, was that dude we played the other day and he just kept buying the operator and you're like, stop buying the op. Like you're not a good sniper.
Yeah.
Hated it.
So when people start learning
everyone has to start somewhere.
weaknesses as a team, you start in the training room.
Not while daddy's playing.
You start in the training room and you stay there for at least 3 days. So once you get kind of the ebb and flow of the game, that starts to change. And you'll start noticing games where you're like, dude, I thought we were up 4. What is happening? And it's because the other team reconsolidated, they went really hard, and then they got the momentum. And because it's really easy to keep momentum.
Yes.
Everyone who doesn't die keeps all of their weapons for the next round, which is a huge boost. If you get a flawless, if 5 people kill your team, they all have their guns plus the money that they would have spent on the next round's guns. Whereas you have to spend money on your guns this round. So it's really easy to keep momentum going. So it's really important to learn the ways of changing that momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of my favorite things now about this game is like the little after the match, like when the round ends and you're like, wait, grab my gun, or like, wait, go kill that dude, because like then it'll screw up their economy. And like I love that like strategy of this game.
There are definitely plays of like pick up the most expensive gun on the ground, not because you need it, but because someone on the team,
somebody else can use it,
may want it, but it's just to like kind of help your economy.
It's an olive branch.
Yeah, and
but also the same thing of just like, all right, forget about the bomb. We're gonna lose this round. Just try and shoot them so they have to rebuy.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like that's more important to your team goals than winning a round. Yeah, there's definitely a long game and a short game to this.
I like the strategy of that. I think that's really
cool.
fun.
There's strategy.
And there's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Now going forward, I feel like any last kind of thoughts on what Valorant is right now? I think we've
I have 2 big thoughts.
Please.
One of them is a transition, but first I need to tell you this story on air.
Yeah.
So Gunner
is this
and
the game. Oh wait.
This is a beautiful
good
night.
story.
So to preface this, I was playing with my cousin, a couple other roommates, We were just having a bad day. A couple of us were just in ruts. We couldn't click heads. We were missing on the screen. You know?
Can I add a preface?
Yeah.
Ted doesn't normally click heads. Like, I don't want you to think Ted's this fucking great shot at this game. He's like a 2 to 3 player. That's where Ted sits. Okay, we used to call him third place Ted when we played Halo, and the fact that it still sits here in Valorant. Okay, continue.
No,
story.
not at all. I'm a professional esports player. Esports.
It's like he's blind in one eye.
Yeah, but the other eye's okay. Anyway, we were just not having a great day, and so we were like, all right, let's just take a break. Let's have a Valor break. Let's not play any more games. Mm-hmm. And so I text Gunner, or I text the group chat, and I'm like, all right, I'm kind of out tonight. I'm gonna take a Valor break.
And not like 10 minutes later, Ted's like, I'm doing. Let's go. Let's get in.
And then my roommate is just like, get on the computer. We're just gonna play stupid fun games. And we're like, all right, whatever. So we're like, all right, let's play stupid fun games. And so I was like, I go on, I'm like, Ryan, my roommate, what are we doing? And he's just like, all right, here's the plan. And he proceeds to lay out the dumbest plan you have ever heard. It is, we are going to hit A hard, all 5 of us, then rotate B, then rotate back to A, and then rotate to B again.
Nice.
That was the plan.
Okay.
And so we did it, and we lost, and it was hilarious. And then we kept doing this. We had stupider and stupider and stupider plays. And eventually, it started working. Because nobody is expecting anything other than attack a point, get to the point, defend that point until the bomb explodes. Yeah. That's how every game goes. So all of a sudden, if that's your mindset and you're defending A, having the other team suddenly turn the other way and just run in a different direction totally throws off the team. And we started winning games because we were just doing such stupid things that the other team didn't know what to do.
That's awesome.
And it was hilarious. We had a game where we all just said we were AFK and just didn't move from spawn.
I heard about this game. Gunnar was telling me about this game the other night.
Yeah.
That's
we
awesome.
all sat in spawn, and then they all came for us
one by one. So we just shot them.
And we just shot them. It was great. None of us, fantastic. I think, like at least 4 out of 5 of us didn't even buy. So we all had the classic, and I think one person had an Odin, and we still killed him. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
We just, people get so locked into a meta of like, this is how things are done. I'm going to stand here and shoot over there because that's how it goes every round. That if you mix it up, you can really change the game.
My final thought, you reminded me of something. My final thought with Valorant, and it's kind of back to what we talked about, it being too long, I think, the initial game. I don't think, maybe if the normal game is first to 13, that's fine. The fact that they don't offer a secondary option that is like first to 7 is crazy.
There is a secondary option.
There is a secondary option. It's Spike Rush, and Spike Rush is not just first to 7.
No, it's a party mode.
They give you a loadout. They do like weird modifiers. It's not everyone has a bomb. Like, it's not just the game, but shorter. It is just like a different game. And I think it's weird that they just don't offer like this is like the quick game. Like, there's no like quick game option of like, get 7 rounds in. It's first to 7 or first to 4.
I think they're riding a line between, if they're going to compete with CounterStrike, they need to match CounterStrike in game time.
Like,
CounterStrike games are about an hour versus the casual player. Because they did with League of Legends, they had a 5v5 and a 3v3. 5v5 emulating Dota, and a 3v3 as like a quicker, easier kind of a thing. And they ended up taking out 3v3 after a while.
Did it really?
Because it died off. It eventually kind of just got unpopular.
Why would they take it out, though?
They replaced it with different party modes. They have ARAM.
ARAM's
they tried to do like a classic and a quick mode, and it didn't really work for them.
Because I think, like, you don't want to fracture your player base. So you'd rather have just all your player base playing in one. Yeah. I mean, when most of your player base, are 17-year-olds and they happen to be out of school right now. I know.
That helps. So the other thing I want to talk about Valorant, and this is a great transition for you. Okay. The story. The backstory.
No, here we go.
I need to talk. Yeah.
What is it? It sounds awful.
So not only
everything about it is terrible.
Why the fuck does it need it? Like, Rainbow Six Siege doesn't have like this narrative about like why all these operators are doing these missions, right? Like, it's just like they're operators and they're on defense and offense, and that's what they are, right? Yeah. This is like, there's like, we're all Valorant. Like, the amount of voice lines that are just utter garbage in this game make me actually angry while playing this game. Like, I hate when there's like Omen says this all the time, and I play a lot of Omen, so I always hear it. And he's like, Sage, when you heal, do you ever wonder where that life comes from? And you're like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't care. This isn't
All of their
Overwatch.
heroes
Overwatch has
boilerplate, just nationality plus trait, just like Swedish robo arms guy.
Yep.
It's terrible.
It's the same.
And they haven't written a story yet. That's their big thing. Is the story's going to come every 2 months as the season progresses because it's an event that you need to experience. And I'm like, I already don't care. I don't care.
Like Overwatch did it and it worked because people liked the characters, right? Where like the story is simple. They were like, there's some bad guys and they were part of like this hero team. It broke up and now they're like,
it was a Saturday morning cartoon.
Exactly. This is like, we just got characters and we're going to pretend there's a story so you really like them. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't like these characters.
Apparently there are good guys and bad guys, but I couldn't tell you which ones are what.
All I know is Omen's a phantom of a memory.
But I think he's a good guy.
Of course he is.
Yeah, it's
like Valorant has good guys and bad guys?
Apparently there's a good side and a bad side.
It's just stupid.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's like laughably bad.
Yeah.
It kind of part of me makes me think that like they don't care and this is them not caring. They needed something better than terrorists and counter-terrorists, but they don't care enough to do an Overwatch or a Siege or something like that.
Why not make it like a sport? Like do like the Apex thing where like this is a sport and it doesn't really matter.
Like a goofy game show?
Yeah.
Because Apex did it.
I guess that's a good point.
Because we've run out of ideas. This is what happens when you run out of ideas.
Ted will remember a really old game that did it as a sport, which was
Monday Night
Combat.
Oh,
yeah,
that
was an old school game that just was not good. Well, it was good for like that short period in like what 2012, and then like everyone forgot.
2010, dude, 2009 even.
Probably, but like
an old game.
That's an example of a game.
Oh. Whoa! I just crashed. Hold on. Hold on. You guys still there?
Oh yeah.
Wow! I just crashed.
Nice.
Wow, that was good. Okay, hold on. We're still recording, but the Discord just crashed on me. That was weird. Okay, so hold on. 3, 2, 1. All right. So you're talking about Monday Night Combat.
Monday Night Combat.
Yes.
Which was basically a really, really bad, like third-person shooter / Dota clone.
Okay.
It was kind of like a MOBA, but there was shooting involved. But the theme was
I thought it was third or first person.
Yeah, it was like a shooter, but it was kind of like a MOBA. There were lanes, and you pushed lanes and stuff. But the theming was very much like we're in an arena. It's Monday night. The entire nation is watching. Let's just play the classic sport,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. For everything was for the sport. There was a lot of announcer commentary. It was just silly and goofy, and it worked. Doing this hammed in superheroes and villains, it's bad.
It reminds me of, and this might be such a reference that no one will understand when listening to this, but it reminds me of a game that doesn't really have an identity. It's just pretending that it does. And it reminds me a lot of Star Wars Republic Commando. You remember this game at all? It's a great third-person or first-person shooter
on the Xbox.
Yeah, it was a great Xbox game. The story was awesome. It was all about like right before Order 66, whatever. I'm getting into Star Wars nerd, but it had this multiplayer split-screen mode, and it was just a Halo clone of a shooter.
Yeah.
But when you got a headshot, for some reason, the game would just go headshot, and it would go super loud, and that's what it would do. And it stuck with me because it's a game that like. We're Halo, but we don't want to be Halo. So we got to do something a little different to not be Halo. And it was like, why was this your choice?
Yep.
Like, why was you screaming headshot in a weird voice that none of the characters had?
Yep.
That was the weird part. No Star Wars character was known for this voice. It wasn't like Yoda going, headshot it is. It was just like this random creature yelling headshot.
Yeah.
That's what Valorant's dialogue reminds me of. It's just like these characters that have no chemistry just shouting at each other. And he's like, Breach, why don't you do something? And it's like,
or like shut that Phoenix up or something.
This is awful.
You talking about my Phoenix or their Phoenix?
And maybe they'll come back and they'll start dropping cinematics or shorts, and we'll start loving these characters, and this video will get downvoted.
Yeah.
But right now it is terrible, and they don't explain any of it. There's nothing to go to fix this problem yet.
Yeah.
Because they claim that it's going to come in the future, which doesn't seem like a great way to open up your narrative. Just at all. Yeah. It's bad.
It's odd. It's very odd. It just has no identity. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Now, the final thought on Valorant before I think we're going to do like a separate little part, which is me talking about Ghost of Tsushima, because we're running a little long in the tooth on Valorant. Any final thoughts on Valorant itself or moving into season 2 or what's next? And are you excited for season 2? Now that we're like kind of into this game, are we looking forward to what's next? Or we just wish it was this forever?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward for anything. There's nothing down the pipeline that I've seen that I'm like, ready for.
Has there been stuff announced? I'm not like into the...
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, characters are getting buffed and nerfed, and there's a new character on the horizon.
Okay.
And a new battle pass. There's nothing about maps or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to any of it, but I really like just playing it and just learning the skills and mechanics necessary to play a very competitive shooter like this.
Yeah.
And I'm just ready to have fun with that.
Mm-hmm. Me as well. Gunnar?
I have to totally agree. Like, I really am indifferent as to whether or not whether or not it's a good season 2 or a bad season 2. Like, it's kind of whatever. I'm just happy that it kind of like in a way brought us all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because like we would play Halo every Sunday, but then we kind of fell out of it. Like we didn't play as much. Because I think the problem was we ran into the people who played Halo
all the time,
every day, including Sunday, and it was just not as fun. Which is ironically is exactly how the old Halo was. But so yeah, I think I don't enjoy the game as much as I enjoy hanging out with my friends.
Me too.
I will leave it at that.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
I'm the exact opposite. You're only there so that I can get better.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why last game you were at the bottom and I was at the top.
So Gunnar, we're only there because Ted needs to get better because he's like really bad at the game.
Oh,
so like we're there because like he really needs to get better. It's not like he wants to. It's like us as friends really need him to get better because like he's the dead weight that you like take to the movies even though like he can't see. You know, that's like Ted.
Oh damn.
Oh
damn. Wow.
Sorry.
Although it is crazy how much playing with your friends just helps your KD ratio.
Yeah.
When you don't even care and you just glance at it and you're like, oh wow, I'm at 25 kills. That's unusual.
Yeah. Well, I think my final little thought with Valorant is like, I don't really care what happens next. I'm actually skeptical of like, am I going to like this game when they add 3 more heroes that all do these crazy things and I got to relearn everybody? But that being said, I really, like Gunnar said, I love just playing with my friends. And it's a game that like we can all really get into. And there's more strategy than just Halo of like, we run and shoot people. And like, there's a little more downtime of like talking to your friends and figuring stuff out. But like, I don't know. I just really, it's a game that I wouldn't like playing by myself. Yeah.
There's a lot more downtime to strategize, but there's also no dead air.
Yeah.
Like in between a conversation about your life, you can be like, I think I saw him B. I think they're there. I think this is a push.
That's the thing. Like I constantly have to do with like anyone else. Like if I'm the only one surviving and all 4 of you guys are talking about like what you ate for dinner, I'm like, shut up. I can hear footsteps and you guys are talking over it. Shut up.
Yeah. So, we've started checking corners in this house just in case.
Just in case, right?
A little peek.
Yeah, totally.
Little peek, and there we go.
Yeah. So, no, definitely. Well, I think that's my final thoughts on Valorant. Anyone else have a thing? Would you recommend this to somebody that has no friends playing it?
No, gosh, no.
Okay.
No.
That being said, get your friends.
Yeah.
Get your friends to play it. If you suck, that's fine. You'll play with other people who suck too, and you'll still have a good time.
Yeah.
It's just a very good team game. To be a team. If you want to be a unit, if you want to practice being a team, it's a great game for that.
Totally.
I will say, unless you're as good a shot as like Shroud, you don't need a team.
We're not.
But and I feel like if you're as good a shot as Shroud,
I've been playing with a guy named Luke. You should see him. He's nuts.
I agree. I played with him. Well, thank you guys so much for watching our review / impressions of Valorant Season 1 or whatever we're calling it. This is the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 29. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.